Dr. Radelet, there's been a lot of conversation over the last 48 hours or so over that Vanity Fair article with White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles. In it, she talks in great length about USAID in particular. Obviously, you are well connected to USAID, an agency that has been shut down and dismantled since the Trump administration began its second term. I want to get your reaction to what you read and what was going through your mind at that time.
Well, it's so. Thank you. First of all, thank you, Larry, for having me on the show. But it was really sad to read this, and it confirmed what I had thought all along, both that they really hadn't thought through this and what the implications would be, that it was done in a really cruel and frankly ham-fisted way, and that that she and others in the White House really didn't even know what was going on with Elon Musk and his Doge group and other people that were involved in dismantling. And it really it hurt so many people around the world whose services has been cut. It has devastated the lives of American servants, civil servants, public servants that have been working for USAID their whole lives. And it has really undermined our foreign policy in a pretty significant way. So pretty sad, and double more to see that it was really not their intention to do this.
Yeah, I had an opportunity to speak with some other former USAID workers that talked about sort of the overall humanitarian aid landscape. They said effectively it has dried up overnight. There's hardly no jobs here in Washington for where they can go and their services and their expertise can be used, and they're concerned about what this will mean long term. Do you share that same sort of concern as well?
So the devastation is really in two areas. One is with the people who these services helped around the world in so many different ways. And millions of people have lost medical support, education support, support for democracy programs, humanitarian support around the world. And so many lives have been lost, and people around the world are really suffering because we have so quickly and abruptly withdrawn our support without any warning or without any safety nets behind it. But the second is really the concern for the people here who work for USAID and all of its implementing partners, who are dedicated public service servants trying to help the United States and its relationships around the world. And they've lost their jobs. Their lives have been totally upended. And they saw a life in front of them of service and working for the United States, and it's been pulled out from under them. And it's bad that they lost their jobs, but it's doubly bad because they were treated so poorly. They were told they were corrupt. They were told they were bureaucratic, that they were out of control, all of which was false and was an ex post justification by the administration for the mistakes that they made. But to fire people and then kick them in the rear end as they go out the door is just really bad. People have been treated really badly. So they're struggling to find new professional and personal pathways. Some have left the DC area and are trying to find jobs with state and local governments. Mm-hmm. Some have found with local nonprofits, but many are still struggling to find their next steps in their lives. So it's really hard for a lot of people.
Well, people often describe USAID as an opportunity for the United States to wield tremendous soft power throughout the world. What sort of risks does this now pose now that we don't have USAID in its prior capacity? Is there a security risk to the country? Is there a risk to our relationships internationally?
Yeah, there's a huge risk. We provided this kind of assistance for two reasons. One, because it was morally and ethically the right thing to do, and a lot of Americans just wanted to help people around the world in terms of life-saving services and help people for the moral and ethical reasons. But the second reason we did this was for our own national security interests. And since World War II, the United States, Republicans and Democrats have forged a strategy that for our own security, to solve our own big problems, we need to work in partnership and alliances with countries around the world, whether that's military like NATO or the ANZUS Treaty, whether that's diplomatic, whether that's working through the UN. And US foreign aid through USAID was a big part of that. We forged alliances with many countries around the world where we would help them and they would help us. And now that's gone. They are being treated cruelly. They're wondering what has happened to the United States. We are now seen as a country that can't be trusted. And so now they are looking to forge alliances with other countries. The two countries that have been most delighted by this are Russia and China. because it opens up space where they can forge foreign policy alliances. And China in particular is being seen as a more trustworthy and reliable partner because they haven't pulled out. So this will do great harm to our long-term foreign policy interests, especially when you couple it with how we have treated people. We have treated countries badly through our tariffs. We have said a lot of bad things about Canada and our European allies and all of our allies around the world. And it is really going to weaken our position of strength and leadership around the world.
Obviously, we're getting ready for midterms. I wonder for those that are, interested in getting the race, what do you want to say to those lawmakers that are currently in Congress on Capitol Hill, those that potentially will also be joining the next Congress as well? What would you want to say to them?
Well, whether Republican or Democrat, I would want to say to them to return to the strategy of alliances and partnerships that have served the United States so well since World War II. Forging alliances and partnerships is hard. Sometimes you have to give in. Sometimes you have to do what others are doing and give up on your top priority for theirs. But often you get them to support what we want to do, whether that's fighting communism during the Soviet Union, whether that's fighting terrorism, whether it's fighting drug trafficking, or whatever those things are. And if we as a nation are going to be successful, we need to get back to forging partnerships with other countries to help us achieve those goals. That strategy made the United States the strongest and most powerful country in the world. And that is now at risk because we have switched that strategy for one where we're just trying to force other countries to do what we want rather than working with them as partners. So whether Republicans or Democrats push hard for moving back to a position where the United States leads the world through partnerships and by treating other countries and other people with respect.
All right, Dr. Radelet, we'll leave it there. Good to see you, sir. Thank you so much for your
Barry.
time.
All right.